Good evening and welcome. Tonight, Vice President Harris speaking to NBC News at a campaign stop in Michigan this afternoon, responding to new NBC News polling that shows Donald Trump with a double-digit lead among male voters. Her campaign making adjustments aimed at narrowing that gap, while at the same time, former President Trump is opening up about what he thinks is hurting him with women voters. Also tonight, Vice President Harris keeping up the drumbeat over Mr. Trump's fitness to hold office and his stamina after what she says were some notable absences on the trail. Harris, meantime, also making news over her blunt assessment of the role of vice president. 18 days to go, and Michigan is where both candidates are, and it's where we start with Peter Alexander.
We spoke to Vice President Harris moments after her Grand Rapids rally here in Battleground, Michigan, where she sharpened her criticism of former President Trump.
He who has called for the, quote, termination of the Constitution of the United States of America.
At the convention, you cast yourself as a joyful warrior, but in recent rallies, you've increasingly attacked former President Trump as an unstable and unhinged. Is that an effective closing? Is that an effective closing argument?
I think that one is not to the exclusion of the other. I have a great deal of optimism, as do the people who are here, about the future of our country. That is not in conflict with also being clear-eyed about the danger that Donald Trump poses based on the language that he has used and his admiration for dictators, his inability to really focus on the needs of the American people, in particular working people. These things are not in conflict. They all exist at the same time.
The critics who say the joy is gone, you respond.
Oh, I'm having a great time.
And we pressed her about the widening gender gap. The latest NBC News poll shows Harris leads Trump among women by 14 points. But Trump has a 16-point advantage with men. Just today, the Harris campaign expanding its advertising on websites that draw largely male audiences, like the sports betting site DraftKings. The vice president downplaying the divide.
Why do you think there is a disconnect for you with men right now?
Well, let me tell you, you can look at this audience and you can see that there are people of every background and gender who are showing up by the thousands. And I think it is because they know I intend to be a president for all Americans. And that is how I'm campaigning to earn the vote of every American, not only about their gender, but about their geographic location, and unburdened by who they may have voted for in the past.
Just to be clear, though, men still say by a 16% margin they're supporting Donald Trump right now. Why do you think that is?
It's not the experience that I'm having, to be honest with you.
Harris has been reluctant to distance herself from President Biden, today casting it as a matter of loyalty.
President Biden said this week that every president has to cut their own path. What is one policy that you would have done differently over these last 3.5 years than President Biden?
I mean, to be very candid with you, even including Mike Pence, vice presidents are not critical of their presidents. I think that really actually, in terms of the tradition of it and also just going forward, it does not make for a productive and important relationship.
He's now given you that green light with his comments that you can carve your own path. So now that you have this ability to say that to be on your own?
Well, no, going forward, there is no question that I bring my own experiences and my own life experiences.
Is there a policy that stands out to you in particular, either?
Sure. I mean, my approach to what we need to do around Medicare covering home health care, born out of my experience of taking care of my mother. My priority on housing, one, because I know what it means, affordable housing and the ability to buy a home, but also I know that for so many young people who I speak with around our country, the American dream is just really out of reach.